What is good? What is up? It's Jordan, or Texans Thoughts, and I'm back with another Texans film breakdown. Today, we're going to be looking at a matchup between JJ Watt and Saints right tackle Zach Strief. We're going back to 2015 for this one to get a bit of a throwback JJ Watt and appreciate just how damn good he was. Now, Strief is no scrub either. He may not be very well known to the common fan, but I'm sure Saints fans will tell you he deserves a lot of respect, and the film today will help show that as well. Now, this series is trying to show how box scores can be deceiving, and we gotta watch the film to see who really won a matchup. Because if you look at the stats of this game, you would think JJ just completely dominated Strief, but there's always more to the story. So if you enjoyed the video, please do hit that like button, subscribe for more content, and comment down below your thoughts on the video. Now, let's break down the film of JJ Watt versus Zach Strief, because the film don't lie. So I want to start by looking at Watt versus Strief in the passing game. There were 40 total pass rush reps, 18 of which Watt was lined up versus Strief. Strief won half of those and Watt won 5 of those. So let's start with the ones that Watt won. And on this one, you're going to see that he uses a really good, nice Bulrush to swim move. And so what he does is he gets both of his hands inside of Strief's chest right here. And if you can get into their chest, you're going to be more powerful. And you can see that this kind of blows Strief back. But he does good to recover, giving up ground slowly. And so Watt knows that he can't just finish his rush right there. He needs to do more. And so he swims over with his left arm. He brings his left arm up and wraps it around the left elbow of Strief. And that kind of catapults him off the block and into Drew Brees' face for the hit. And that leads to the errant throw. So that's a great win by Watt. So like I said, we're going to start with all of Watt's wins against Strief. And he wins to the outside here with a nice rip move. But Brees is still able to complete the pass. And I'm really not going to take too much into consideration the result of the play. It's more of who actually won their one-on-one matchup, Watt or Strief. And on this play, it's clear. Watt gets the win. He gets the hit on Brees. But just breaking this down really quickly, he does good to threaten the outside rush. And you can see how that gets Strief so panicked. And he's already running, basically. He's not sliding anymore. He's running to the outside because Watt, for as big as he is, he's got that explosiveness. He's got that juice, that speed. That's really deceiving for a guy of his size, like I said. And so Strief is scrambling, and he's just never able to catch up. He tries to get hands on Watt, but you're going to see Watt's left hand just kind of swats away Strief's hand, and then he uses his right hand to dip underneath of Strief and not allow him to really push him out of the play. He bends to the quarterback and gets the nice hit. Yet Brees still got the ball out so fast, and man, that was a theme for the entire game. Now on this rep, Watt tries to hit him with that same dip move to the outside, but Strief is a lot better in handling the initial move. But JJ Watt, we know his motor, it never stops. He's going to keep fighting to try and get back into this play and win it, and he does. What I love about JJ is he always rushes with a plan, but then he also always has a counter plan if his first move doesn't work. And you can see that really evidently here. And Strief, so like I said, Watt is trying to use the same rip move, using his right arm to get under Strief, but Strief isn't allowing it. He learned from that other rep, and you can see that his right arm is stopping JJ from getting underneath him. And so he's able to kind of push JJ out of the play here. He's way past the pocket at this point, and a lot of pass rushers would just give up. But Watt, he uses Strief's momentum against him because Strief is coming this direction. Then Watt works back the other way and tries to swim over with his left hand, but Strief is just gone at this point. He's not able to stop on a dime like Watt is. And that leads him to getting a good pressure and a good hit on Drew Brees. Now JJ's last pressure against Strief when he was directly lined up against him came here again on this nice little rip move that it's really his go-to. And you can see here that Strief does a really good job to time his punches. You can see his left hand and his right hand both swat JJ's hands at the perfect time. That's really hard to do against someone like JJ, so that stalls his initial rush, but JJ's never done, like I said, and he just uses that simple rip move to try and get under Strief's right arm, and it works, and he shows that great bend to the quarterback yet again, and he's just not able to get there quick enough because, like I said, it's just been a theme. Like, Drew Brees is getting this ball out instantly, man. He knows that JJ Watt's coming and you can't hold the ball. But in my eyes, this is still a win for JJ. He still beat Strief on this play. Now, this last one wasn't as clear of a win as the other ones that resulted in hits or pressures, but I think it's still a win by Watt. He uses a really nice bull rush here, gets into the chest of Strief, and pushes him all the way back to collapse the pocket and get into Brees' face. And you can see at this point that it's just making it uncomfortable for Brees. Brees has that internal clock in his head that, hey, I got to get the ball out quickly because JJ Watt's coming, you know, and then he sees his pressure right in his face from the right side. He's got to let the ball rip. And so he lets it rip to this tight end, and the tight end is smothered, man. This was not a great decision. The safety, Eddie Pleasant, is all over this. He breaks it up, and this is a crucial third down that the Texans end up getting off the field. in help because of Eddie Pleasant, but also in help of JJ Watt just speeding up Drew Brees' process and making him get rid of the ball maybe where he did not want to go, to a covered wide receiver. Now let's talk about Strief's wins versus JJ Watt, because there were a lot of them. Out of the 18 reps that they face off, he won 9 of them, which is a good half. And Strief, he's a really strong dude. He's able to get his hands into JJ Watt's chest here and just completely push him out of the play. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. Whoever basically gets their hands inside, that's a major advantage to who's going to win the rep. And like I said earlier in the video, man, Strief, he's no scrub. He handled his own today. And I'll get into more JJ Watt plays later, but he didn't allow JJ to get a sack on Brees. So in this one, you can see how Strief is really trying to fight back to get his hands inside, like I've been talking about. Originally they're on the shoulder pads, but then he works to get them into the chest of JJ Watt, and that's the only thing that's stopping Watt from completely beating Strief right here. Maybe you want to call holding on this. I don't think it's holding. I think that's clean, but like I said, Strief is just a strong dude. He may not be the fastest guy, not with the best with his feet, but he is strong. If he gets his hands inside of you, you're basically done. Another good win here for Strief, where he uses catch technique to absorb the blow of JJ Watt, who's trying to bull rush him. He gets into his chest, but you can see here that Strief, like I said, uses catch technique. And so what that means is he's going to have his arms to the outside here, where he's kind of like grab hold of him, kind of hug him, almost like latch on to the outside of JJ Watt and try and control him that way. And the idea here is not to like punch him and stonewall him or anything, but just to absorb the blow and give up ground really slowly so that your quarterback still has enough time to get rid of the ball. And that's exactly what Strief does here. I don't like this technique personally, but a lot of tackles nowadays use it. And he holds on to Watt for just long enough for Brees to get rid of the ball. Now these next two wins are going to look a little similar for Strief here, and he's really using JJ Watt's aggression against him, and it works perfectly. You can see at this point that Strief's got his hands out looking like they're ready to punch and shoot. But as we know from the previous play, he's not looking to actually punch JJ Watt. He's looking to use catch technique. And he's even doing something different on this play so that JJ doesn't catch on. And so what he's doing here is he's trying to bait out JJ Watt's punch. That's why he has his hands out here. And you can see it works. You can see JJ, he shoots his arms out, trying to punch into the middle of Strief's chest because that's where his hands are and that's where he wants to defeat. And so Strief does really well to take away his hands. Instead of having them out in front of his chest, then he brings them out to the side, looking like he's about to latch on yet again, like in catch technique. But because JJ misses his punch here and he's dipping down his shoulder so low, then Strief is just able to come up over top and just push him down into the ground and just pancake him. And this is over, man. This is a really nice rep out of Strief, kind of just being one step ahead of JJ Watt and what he wants to do and playing the mental game here. This is all the mental game, which is a very underrated part of O-line and D-line play. Now in this play, like I said, it's going to look similar here. Strief is going to start off with his hands to the inside, then JJ Watt's going to get aggressive, and Strief's going to go outside and over top, and then boom, just put him in the ground. Now maybe you were looking at the numbers and saw that there was 18 total reps between Strief and Watt, and then you're only counting 14. Now those other 4 plays, what happened to them was, neither of them won. I didn't give them a win for either of those because there were 4 screens that the Saints ran, where obviously the ball's out quickly and Strief isn't really trying to fully block Watt like he normally would. So I'm just not really taking those plays into too much consideration. I'm not going to show all of them, but here's just one. Now it's also important to note how JJ Watt did against the other Saints offensive lineman and try and compare that to Strief to see how he really did, because Strief, he only gave up 3 hits and 1 pressure, and JJ Watt actually had 2 sacks against offensive linemen that weren't Strief. This one here against left tackle Teron Armstead, for whatever the reason he was in it as a extra tight end. I guess they were just really trying to shut down JJ Watt at this point, and it didn't help. He was actually worse than Strief was against JJ Watt here, and he just gets embarrassed. Strief at least did better against that move. He was able to shut it down eventually. And in the 6 reps that JJ Watt got against other offensive linemen, he had 2 sacks and a hit, which that pass rush productivity of 50% is pretty insane. Now against left guard Andrews Pete, who's a great player in his own right, JJ Watt kills him with this nice club swim move. It's just so quick, and he gets Drew Brees for the 2nd sack of the day. So breaking it down here, you're going to see that JJ Watt, he's going to use his right arm to club away at Andrews Pete's left arm and his left shoulder pad really right here. So he's trying to neutralize his punch with the left arm by using JJ's right arm. And that club is just so powerful, man, but it's not enough. He needs a second move, and he pairs it together with a nice swim from his left arm. He swims over using that left arm, and he makes sure to put his left hand on Pete's shoulder pad. And this stops Pete from turning around and pushing JJ out of the play, and gives him that extra split second to get past him and get to the quarterback. And Pete is just helpless. There's nothing he can do, and that's a sack for JJ Watt. And his last hit came up against Pete yet again, and he just manhandles him. He just shoves him to the side and gets the hit on Drew Brees so quickly, man. That was like instantly. So just get Pete off of JJ Watt. He could not guard him to save his life. And so really quick, JJ Watt was double teamed 16 times on 40 total reps, and I'm not taking those into consideration whatsoever for this matchup because it gives Strief an unfair advantage, and you can't really judge JJ Watt in how he does against double teams. Now, the run game matters too, and believe it or not, but JJ Watt only had 8 total reps defending the run, 3 of which came against Strief, and Strief actually won all 3 of those. He kind of just manhandled Watt in the run game. You can really see how his bare strength just pushes him out of the way and opened up a nice lane on that play. And I'm not going to show all these reps just so this video isn't super long, but just know that Strief won all 3 of those run game reps. Now in the 5 other reps, he did a lot better. This one against Teron Armstead, he just doesn't get reach block here, keeps fighting around to the right side of the play, gets off the block, and makes a tackle for 1 yard, which is great to see. And it's just a theme that, whether it's in the pass game or the run game, Strief did the best out of any offensive lineman on Watt. And you know, one way to show that is with all the good reps of Strief, but another way to show that is all the bad reps of the other offensive linemen. His best play in the run game was predictably when the Saints tried to block him with a tight end here, and that's just never going to work. JJ Watt will destroy tight ends, and he sheds the block really nicely here for the tackle for loss. Now that we've broken down the film, I just want to go over some key stats to help supplement what we saw on tape. So like I said, there were 40 total pass rush reps, 18 of which came versus Strief, and on those 18, 4 were screens, so we're going to throw those out. And out of the 14 remaining one-on-one pass rush reps, Strief won 9, while Watt won 5. So that would make Watt's pass rush productivity 5 out of 14, which was 36%, and that seemed really, really good. But Strief did well to hold him to just hits, no sacks. And on 2 out of 3 of those hits, the ball still got out and was completed. So we got to keep that in mind just a little bit. Now, looking at the 22 other reps that Watt went up against a different Saints offensive lineman, I want to look at these because I want to see how much better Strief did than any of his other teammates. Was he the best guy to put on JJ Watt? And the answer is yes. So out of those 22 reps, 16 of them were double teams, and out of those other 6, Watt got 2 sacks and 1 hit. Now that would give him a pass rush productivity of 3 out of 6, which is obviously 50%, which is absurdly high, and we got to think about small sample size here, with only 6 reps. But it's clear that Strief did a pretty good job of handling JJ Watt. You know, he's one of the best defensive players in all of NFL history, and to not give up a sack when you're one-on-one with him, that's honestly pretty damn good. And we also have to think about the run game. The Saints barely ever ran it, only 8 times, but as JJ Watt, you can't disappear in the run game and still be called the GOAT defensive player, you know what I mean? And so while he did good in his 5 reps against other defenders, getting 2 tackles, one of which was for a loss, he got washed out on some of the plays by Strief, who was able to sort of manhandle him. And so with all those things considered, let's finally get to my verdict of who won this matchup. This is hands down the closest matchup I've made a video on so far, and I could really see the argument for both sides. However, I think that the winner is Zach Strief. Yeah, you're probably surprised I didn't go with JJ, but I'm really taking my Texans bias out of this man, and Strief had some really nice reps. He held him to pretty pedestrian numbers for JJ Watt standards, and didn't allow a sack on like 15 one-on-one pass rush reps. That's really hard to be honest. And he did better than any other Saints offensive lineman, and took Watt to school in the run game. So this game is just a perfect example of the purpose of this series. You can look at the box score and see that Watt lit it up, with 2 sacks, 5 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, and 5 hits, and think he just dominated whoever the right tackle was. But you gotta watch the film because the film don't lie. So anyways, I hope you all enjoyed the video, and if you did, please do hit that like button, subscribe for more content, and comment down below your thoughts on the video. If you're still listening, I appreciate you, and the question of the day is really just going to be, let me know in the comments who you believe won this matchup. Do you agree with me with Strief, or do you think JJ should have been crowned the winner? Let me know. I want to hear from y'all. Also, I'm a part of Texans Unfiltered. I write articles about more Texans film breakdowns, and we've also got a great weekly podcast on all your typical platforms. So if you're itching for more Texans content, we got you. The links will be in the description. Alright, this was Jordan, or Texans Thoughts. Hope you enjoyed, and come back for more. Videos every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Take care everyone, and remember, the film don't lie.